Well, hello there, you selling machine. First off, I have to say thank you so much. I'm honored that you've given me this opportunity to help you with this part of your business. I promise you I'm going to do everything I possibly can to over-deliver and give you everything I know and all the tips and the tricks that is going to be necessary for you to take this, implement this, and start generating profit. Now, I know that the original reason why you came to me was because you're looking for this special lead generation assistant that is going to go out and find you highly qualified, very interested prospects that are motivated and ready to take action in their business. And I'll tell you what, this method has been by far the best method that I've ever done to generate those types of prospects. So literally, when I'm finished showing you everything that I'm going to show you today, you'll be able to implement this into your business and you'll be able to start generating the revenue that you deserve. Now, as you can see, I'm logged into my Hot Prospector account, and I will be referring to this system throughout this training. It's not 100% necessary for you to have it, but I will tell you this much. Everything that I do revolves around this system. We've generated a lot of leads in this system. We've made a lot of money in this system, and the profit that we've pulled in because of this system has been nothing short of mind-blowing. Now, obviously, we built this system, so we know what we needed, and we built it from the mindset of what a salesperson needs in order to be the most effective as possible. There's a lot of little tools out there that do some of these things, but not in one place and not with giving you all the information that I'm going to be showing you today. Now, first off, why Facebook? Why do I use Facebook as the means of delivering my lead generation assistant, what I like to call my lead generation assistant, out to the masses? Well, mainly because Facebook is one of the most highly trafficked sites, or actually I think it is the highest traffic site online. And, bottom line, they have such great demographics from not only their own data, but also from partner data that they have available. So it just really makes it easy to put your advertisement right in front of somebody that is going to be interested. There are a lot of ways that you can find people that would be interested in what you have. Sometimes, you could target people who are on Google searching for something. But I really like Facebook because those people are there. And if you know the clues that they leave behind, you can literally put that ad right in front of them and get them to act. And now this video that we're creating, this lead generation assistant video, it's literally going to work for you day after day, night after night, morning after morning. It never sleeps. As long as you keep that budget running, it's going to be pitching your product and your service. And, the back end of that funnel is what's going to take that customer through that maze, through that prospecting maze that you need them to go through. So when they come out that funnel, or they come out of that maze, they've got their credit card in hand, they are ready to sign your order forms, and they're ready to do business. Okay, so that's why Facebook. Why Hot Prospector? Well, Hot Prospector, we built this system. We took all these different tools and we put it into one, so it works with Facebook and Google and all of these other places where you're going to be generating leads, and then it handles all the follow-up. So as you probably have already seen, as soon as you gave us your information from Facebook, we started leaving ringless voicemails right into your inbox of your phone without ringing your phone. We sent you text messages, we sent you emails, and we can take you through this entire funnel to make sure this follow-up sequence in order to make sure that you watch all the videos or all the content that we want you to watch. You can do this exact same thing, and I will tell you, this has boosted our conversions just through the roof. There's nothing out there like it. And again, with Hot Prospector, you get all the things that you need without having to piece all of these different tools together. And that could be frustrating, and it could be really expensive, because when you start adding up all of the costs that's associated with buying all the tools that you need, oh boy, I mean, it can become astronomical. Okay. All right. So let's dig into this training. Again, this isn't 100% pitch. Yes, I'm selling my product. That's how I afford to advertise on Facebook. But this isn't 100% pitch. I want to give you some good quality information so you feel like when you leave here that you got your money's worth. Anyways, we're not going to start here inside of Hot Prospector. There is one thing that I want you to see here, and this is our advanced caller ID statistics. But this is also something that you can use if you just load your customer database in here. You can run a search to find out all the demographics on your customer. Now that's going to be a very valuable tool when you're advertising on Facebook, because even if you know the interests that your customers have, or the types of things that they're looking for or looking at on Facebook, if you're targeting the wrong demographic with people who are actually interested in buying from you, you could spend a lot of unnecessary advertising dollars, which basically means the cost that you spend per lead goes up tremendously. Now, also, by the way, I like to keep things simple. So everything I'm going to be teaching you today is very simple. If you're more advanced with your Facebook knowledge, then great. You may still pick up a few things here from me on the follow-up side, and also what I'm doing on Facebook ads that'll help you. But the whole point of knowing your demographics is that it's going to give you the opportunity to put your ad in front of the right people, in front of the audience that is going to be a buyer versus just a looky-loo. And you don't want to pay for the looky-loos. So depending on what it is that you sell, there are different approaches on how you're actually going to find out who your audience is. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Facebook ads account, and yours may look a little bit different. This is not the business manager account. This is just a regular ads account. And by the way, I do suggest you get a business manager account if you're going to be running a lot of ads. And most people will just say you should get a business manager account regardless, but here I am not practicing what I preach. We bring in a lot of money without the business manager account. But anyways, so if you're doing a local approach, depending on what it is that you sell, you may actually not need to have as tight of interests as you might have if you're selling something like what we sell, which is like a software to businesses that are interested in software. Right, ours is a pretty difficult vertical and targeted niche to be able to sell to. So we have much more complicated approaches. So I'm going to show you two different approaches, maybe three, on this particular video that'll give you an idea of how to target different people. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig in first. Actually, I figured the best way to actually dig in is for me to actually open up and start creating an ad for you in real time. And this way, you will get an opportunity to see like how you build the ad, how you target, how you do all of those different things. And we'll go back and forth while we're building this ad with just different examples. Now, when it comes to ads, my favorite, now these are all the different ads that Facebook has available, or the different products that they have available. My favorite ad is the Facebook lead ad, or they call it a lead generation ad. And the reason why I like it is because you don't need a website to generate opt-ins. And these kind of opt-ins are great because you can get the name, you can get the email, you can get the phone number. And I'm going to show you when you build the form, you could literally get whatever information you want. Now keep in mind, the more information you ask for, the more, the lower your conversions are going to be. Okay. So, so anyways, the lead generation ad is the choice ad for us. And the other cool thing is because Hot Prospector integrates directly into Facebook, the lead generation ad, when you get the name, email, and phone number, you're going to be able to send your prospects text messages and voicemails and emails, and you'll be able to track them through the whole funnel, and you're going to make sure that they actually buy what it is that they said they were interested in. Okay, so whatever it is you're selling, you gotta follow up. Follow up is key. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to click on the lead generation. And the very first thing you do is you come up with a name for your actual ad, click continue. Now this is the basic version I'm going to show you here. I'm not going to go into anything complicated. There's plenty of time for that later. What I want to do is just give you the basics here so you understand how to actually get things going. So when you actually create your ad, the first thing that Facebook wants you to do is they want you to come up with your audience. Audience is who you're actually marketing to. Now if you look over here on the right hand side, you've got this potential reach. This number changes depending on how narrow you're actually getting down on your audience. So the more focused you get, the better, because while 212, what is that, 212 million people would be great to advertise to, because I'm actually advertising to the entire United States population at this point if I didn't change anything. It's not great if most of those people aren't interested in your product and you're paying Facebook to put your ad in front of all those people, right? Now, again, there's two different ways that you can go about this. You can use interests or you can use custom audiences. We're not going to get into custom audiences too much in this video, but just let me tell you, custom audience is definitely going to be the way to go down the road once you really start building a group of customers. And if you have customers, you can even take your customer file, load it up into the system, and create what's called a look-alike audience, which is basically a custom audience. And that look-alike audience will actually mirror the exact customers that you've already sold to. So Facebook tries to find people that are going to be potential customers for you. They want to help you sell more of your product, because if you do, well then you're going to spend a lot more money on your advertising campaigns. Plus, Facebook's big on the user side of things. They want to make sure that people who actually go to Facebook have a good user experience, and they want you to put your ads in front of them. If they're going to be engaging with those ads, that means that Facebook's doing a good job in putting things in front of people that they're interested in, right? The better experience for the user, the better experience for the advertiser, better advertiser experience, better user, back forth. You get it. Okay. All right. So, and I'll try not to go off on too many of these tangents, but I just want to make sure you understand everything. So anyway, so we're going to talk about our targeting. Now let's say, for example, that in this case, you are a insurance agent, okay, and you're selling an insurance product. We'll say life insurance, because that's one that's just come off the top of my head and it's fun. Okay. Now, I'm not an insurance agent, so I'm probably not going to get these demographics right, and I would suggest you do your research on these demographics, but I'm just going to guess. And let's just say that you're in a specific state that you're licensed in. Let's say you're licensed in Nevada, and let's say you're licensed in Utah, and you're licensed in Arizona. And that's a pretty decent sized audience. As you can see, I'm already targeting potentially, now that the audience size is decreased, now I'm actually only targeting 8.4 million people. There's 8.4 million people in those 3 states, which is pretty big, right? Now, if I were selling life insurance, I would start thinking, well, what is it that people who is it that needs life insurance? Now, I know for sure people who buy life insurance are going to be typically older than 18 and younger than probably 65, right? So we already know that this age demographic isn't going to be a good fit. But if I wasn't sure specifically who I was targeting to, well, then I would just go to good old Google, and I would probably just type in, and I'm just thinking off the cuff here, demographics for life insurance buyers. Oh, wow. Looks like somebody else has searched for that. Who are today's life insurance buyers? So, this is just a site here. Let's see. Male, female buyers. The majority of life insurance sold in a given year is sold to men. Bonus. So now we know we're not going to sell to females because, hey, why am I going to put my ad in front of a female if she typically isn't the one who buys it, right? Men also purchase larger size life insurance. That's good. Man's trying to take care of his family if he passes away. So let's go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and know right off the bat we're going to target men. Let's see here. Term insurance. Okay, so term insurance is the most popular from 25 to 54. So now we know we are going to target men aged 25 to 54. Okay, so let's go back over here to our ad targeting, and let's select 25 to 54. Okay, now look at this. We've dropped another 3 million people off of our potential audience, which is good. We're getting narrow. That's the point. We want it to get as narrow as possible. So we're not going to go into, oh, sorry, I forgot to select men. There we go. Now that really dropped us down. So there's 2.4 million men in Utah, Nevada, and Arizona that are aged 25 to 54. So far, we know that those people are going to have probably a pretty good fit. Now, some of this stuff is things that you're going to think about as time goes on, and you're going to learn more. But these are where you really have to narrow these down to be able to find out who your actual your customer is based off of their interests, based off of their behaviors, that sort of thing. Now, I know that people who buy life insurance. If we go back over here, let's see here. Buyers with less cash in their pockets will be able to buy larger policies, while older and more affluent buyers will continue to have the opportunity to buy larger pockets. So depending on what it is that you're selling, you want to probably target people who are more affluent. Okay, so how do you find people who are more affluent? Well, that's a good question. What are the habits of people who are more affluent? I know more affluent people typically read more, right? And they also typically read certain things. They have certain interests. So, for example, maybe you might actually be interested in Money Magazine. I know Money Magazine. Let's see, Money Magazine. There you go. Money Magazine. That has an interest of 300,000 people. So now you notice, as soon as I threw in Money Magazine, my potential reach went down to 4,100 people. Obviously, you need to add more so that that group gets bigger. My hope is to be somewhere in the 100,000 to 400,000 audience range. Now, again, that's not a perfect number, but you want to have a decent sized audience, because that gives Facebook the ability to run their algorithm and actually identify people that would be a good fit for what it is that you sell. Okay. All right. So 4,100 people. So I mean, what you can do is you just click on suggestion, and because we selected Money Magazine, Facebook's like, well, hey, these are some other magazines that might be good. So maybe Business Insider, Fortune Magazine. That's another good one. So now we've built our audience up to 16,000. Hey, Fast Company. That's going to have you're going to have a lot of business owners in there, and business owners typically make pretty decent money, right? Wall Street Journal. People who read the Wall Street Journal are typically going to be much more fluent because they care about finances. CNN Money, right? Market Watch. So now you can see, just by adding those different interests, we're now targeting men that live in these 3 states who probably have some kind of interest in money. And this is personally my favorite way to target people that are more affluent, is to go after people based off of what they read or their interests are there. That's a pretty decent target. Right now, we're targeting 100,000 men in those 3 states that hit that age demographic that we're looking for. And, now when you place an ad in front of them, they're going to be able to afford what it is that your interest that you're selling. Now, there are other things too that you can do to actually even bring that target audience down even more. And one of those ways is actually going to be to think, well, are they married, right? I know married men usually are much more interested in life insurance than somebody who's not, because they have to have somebody that's going to be a beneficiary of that life insurance, right? So you might want to narrow that audience. When I click narrow, you'll notice it says, and also must match at least one of the following. So let's do married. Okay, so relationship status married. So now look, we just dropped our audience down to 86,000 men. Okay, another one might be engaged. An engaged man would also be interested in that, right? Because they're thinking now about the future. So that there helps. Another one might be children. Let's see. Has children? I'm not sure exactly how to. Here we go. Parent. Here we go. Parents with children. So now you have an audience of men who are aged 25 to 54 that live in these 3 states, that are interested in money, that probably make money, and have children or are engaged or are married. Now you've got a good audience that when you place this ad in front of that person, you're going to be much more likely to be able to sell them a life insurance policy, okay? So this right here is one example. If you're selling something like an insurance or real estate or whatever, how you can target those types of individuals. Now, if you're going nationwide, well, it's simple. You just take out these states and you're good to go, okay? So there's a few examples of how to target. Targeting is the most important thing. Now, myself, once I actually started to build up my audience, you can actually narrow even further with other tools. And I don't think actually you can do this on Facebook. I use another tool. I'll just throw this out there. It's something called Ad Espresso. I use this tool called Ad Espresso, and you can get a free trial. It's not an advertisement for them, but I really like them because you have the ability, once you start building your custom audiences, you can actually layer in your custom audience. So you've got your interests, you've got your demographics, and then you can actually say, okay, I only want to hit people in that audience that match the lookalike audience that Facebook has created for me. Now that's really good targeting because Facebook thinks those people are going to be buyers. So if you layer in the interests and the demographics, and on top of that, that third thing that Facebook is doing for you, well, then now you really just, you're cooking, okay? All right, so I don't want to spend too much more time on the targeting, but I hope you really got a good idea of how to actually do some really good targeting. Now let's do the budget. And before that, we're going to take a quick commercial break while I just take a sip of my strawberry Perrier. Okay, and by the way, that was not a paid commercial or endorsement of Perrier, but man, I love strawberry Perrier. Okay, so daily budgets. Daily budgets are all going to be depending on you and what your budget is. But I do suggest, everybody's all over the place on this, depending on who you talk to, but I do suggest you give yourself substantial amount of a budget to be able to test your ad. I usually start at $20 a day, and you got to let it run for a few days. So don't put a budget up there unless you're really willing to let that ad run for at least 3 days, sometimes as much as a week. And you'll notice what happens is the longer that the ad runs, the better that it will start to do, because as the time goes on, Facebook's algorithm's getting better. People start to engage on that post. They'll start liking it. They'll start sharing it. They'll start commenting. And then those types of things will make the ad perform even better. So you got to make sure that whatever budget that you select, you actually are willing to let it run. So that's just a tip that I really think you definitely need to use. All right, so I've selected my $20 ad budget. And now we're going to go to the next page here where you select the actual format of the ad. Okay, so let's talk about ad format. Really, there's 3 different types of ads that I personally use, and I do run them all the time. I try different ones all the time. My favorite is video. I like video because if you're not using if you're not sending somebody from your Facebook to a sales page, video does the best job of qualifying the leads up front because you can really give them a lot of information in video, right? If you're going to do a video ad, though, make sure that you do add the captions at the bottom, because you'll see a lot of times what happens you'll see what happens a lot of times with people that are scrolling through Facebook, and you probably do this yourself. You'll see a video that might catch your eye, and then Facebook's letting that video play, and you can actually see the captions and you can read it to see if it's something you're really interested in. And that is a really big tip. I personally get a lot out of my my captions. So I notice, and I've tested it. I've tested it with captions and I've tested it without captions, and hands down, captions win every single time. So use captions if you're going to do a video ad. How long does the video ad need to be? Well, personally, I don't think there's really a number. I've had videos that are 10 minutes. I've had videos that are 3 minutes, and either way, they've done really well. So, really, I think it boils down to what you're actually giving them in that video and what the hopes are of that video. If you're just trying to give them 3 minutes, short and sweet, get them excited about what you have so they'll opt in, and then you're going to give them more information, kind of like this style of funnel, then, that'll work. But if you really want to educate and give them you want to get a high qualified prospect that you don't want a bunch of people going into your funnel that you feel like you can sell later, then you might have a longer video. Okay, it's just something you're going to have to play with. I have tried both ways, and both ways work. The next type of ad that I will create is what I call a short story ad. Now, a short story ad literally is not short at all. I mean, it's a decent sized post. And believe it or not, I get some people complain on the ad. They'll say, oh, this is so long. I can't believe it. Shorten it up next time. But guess what? That ad wasn't written to that person. But the ones that do read it, and a lot of people like to read those types of stories, especially if you're creative and you can come up with something that will get them excited to make to opt in, then they're going to love it. It's something entertaining. So I'll give you an example. Like if you're back on the ad, the insurance agent ad, if I was selling life insurance, I might write a story about a customer and their experience and, what happened. You could probably do a contrasting story, maybe one where it wasn't a good situation and another one where it was a great situation for the person who purchased the life insurance. I know that's a little bit morbid. That's really not the kind of example I wanted to give, but we were talking about life insurance, so I figured that might be a good idea to kind of give you the contrast. But the short story ads really, really work. People love those. And then you could put an image in the ad itself that grabs their attention. Images are very important. The image that you use whenever you're not doing a video, or even if you're using a video, it's a big deal, because if you don't have the right kind of image, then you're not going to pull as much traffic and eyeballs into that ad as you possibly can. So that brings me to the third. The third type of ad is an image with what we call punchy ad copy. It's short and sweet, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. And you believe it or not, those kind of ads are really good too. Your cost per lead can be pretty low. And if you're targeting the right person and you're not really caring so much about, who it is that opts in, that's great. You're going to get you're going to get a low cost per opt-in, and your cost per lead is going to be very low. And then you can have a great funnel on the back end that's going to load, or that you load those people into, that's going to get them to buy your product. Now, I've been talking a lot about funnels, so I figured I might as well stop here for a second and just make sure you understand what I mean, because I put my hands up like this and I say funnel, and you might be saying, what is this guy? Is he crazy? Like, what is that? Is this like some Illuminati thing? No, it's not, right? This is not Illuminati. So the funnel is just like I was saying, it's like a shape of a funnel, right? You know what a funnel is. You pour some kind of liquid into it to make sure it goes into the place you want it to go or whatever. So your lead funnel is the same. The top of the funnel is big and the bottom is small because at the top, the people that are going in aren't going to be very qualified. But at the end, they're going to come out very qualified. So when I say sales funnel, I'm assuming that you know if you load 2,000 leads into your sales funnel, you may only come out with 200 sales. It's much smaller, but that's okay. We're used to that in sales. And the better your funnel, the more qualified those leads are going to be as by the time you talk to them. So you're going to close more of those deals. Okay. All right. So let's see here. So now we're at the ad part of it. So I'm just going to give you an example here. So here in this case, I would do a single video. You have all these different options. Now, personally, myself, I usually only use single image or single video. I've used carousel, which basically will let you do like multiple images that people can select. So if you have a product where you might need people to look at options, that's when you would show a carousel. So maybe if you had multiple different products that you were offering, like if you were life insurance and you were doing auto insurance and home and health, I don't know, that might not be a good example, but you might use the carousel ad. But for me, again, like I said, video is hands down my top ad that I use. So we're just going to do this here, this ad for video. Okay, so we select video. Now we're going to go ahead and click. You have multiple ways that you could do this. Now you can see here I've already got a big arsenal of videos that I've already used. So I'm just going to go ahead and select one. I think okay, actually this might be the video ad that I've used at some point. Anyways, we'll go ahead and select that. Okay, now after you select, actually, yeah, this is a video ad that I just recently used. So you may have seen this. So anyways, you select the video ad, then you have these options to select your testimonial. And then once you, or not your testimonial, but your thumbnail. And once you've selected your thumbnail, here you have these options to either generate your captions automatically, or you can let Facebook review them. Personally, myself, I want to do them myself, because sometimes I'll make little tweaks to what the captions say. Maybe I want to use ... Maybe I want an exclamation. Maybe I want to capitalize a word or something. So I usually select generate automatically. And then what happens is when you select that, Facebook is going to go here and it's going to do like the generation. And then after it's done creating the captions, then you can go in and physically edit them. So it's like you'll see your video here, and then on the right hand side will be all of the different captions. As you press play, you could read the caption and you can edit that. Okay, so we're not going to do that here because that takes time, but it's very easy to do. So that's that. Next is the actual ad part. So here's where you put in your text. So here is your text, and then you'll see exactly where that goes. So if you're ever like, well, where do I put here? This is the way it's going to look on the desktop. So you can put your text in there and see what's going to be there. Here is your headline. That's going to show up down at the bottom. Here is your headline. Okay. And then here is your display link. Mark-Helton. Okay. And here is your news feed description. This is the news feed description. Okay. Now, so let's talk about each of these different things. So as far as the text area above the image, I use this area to pull the eyes down to the video. That's the way I use it. Everybody might use it differently, but I'm thinking there's two different types of people that are scrolling through my ad that I want to pull in. Some people look at the actual video or the ad, and they're a visual person. Others are people who like to read. So I want to think of something that's going to pull those people, their eyeballs in, and I might use words like, if I'm targeting people for, that might be interested in insurance, I might be, using something like attention married men, or attention family guy or family man, or something like that, because I know who I'm targeting. And that way they see that, they're like, what? Oh, yeah, that's me. Okay, so that might actually get the guy who's a reader to stop scrolling and start looking at the video that's playing. And then, I will use more text in that ad talking to them. That's where I'll kind of sell things. Now, if you're not a writer, don't worry about it. You don't have to have like this long book to get somebody to read the video or to watch the video. Just a couple, 3-4 sentences is fine. And then make sure you give them some call to action in the text to make sure that they click the video to play the video. So give them a reason to watch the video if they haven't done so already. So give them some kind of a good call to action, okay? The display link, as you can see, that's optional. I suggest you do it because, people want to make sure where they go is not some site that's going to be like clickbait. That started showing up a lot more on Facebook lately. It's very annoying. You don't know where you're going. Next thing you know, you're on one of those sites where you're looking at clickbait and there's all those ads everywhere. And I personally hate those. So, everything you can do to make sure that people know that they're going to a site that has information that they're going to be interested in. And also, don't be deceptive on that link here. If you're sending them somewhere, make sure you show them where you're sending them. The headline. Now, the headline is kind of what you use and what I use to entice them to want to click on your call to action button, which is this thing here, okay? And I like to use learn more. That's one of my favorite call to actions because it's not very pushy. And if you put in like sign up, people automatically think you're trying to get them to pay you some money, which is good. You do want people who think they're going to have to pay some money for something, but come on, you're just getting learning. You're just starting to get this relationship going. Don't get started off on the right foot or the wrong foot. But anyways, this description area is what you're going to use in order to kind of get them to click on this learn more button. Why? Well, because look where it's at. It's right here above the learn more button. So I'm going to use something here, and just keep in mind, the more text that you are going to enter into this area, the less they will eventually be able to see. So you can use that to your advantage, right? Because as this updates, oh, I put that into the wrong area. Sorry. There we go. The more text that you put into the headline area, the less they're going to be able to see. Like eventually, it's gonna go out of view, especially if you're looking at mobile news feeds, right? Actually, this is a bad example, but you get the point. So just don't go crazy with this, because you cannot go into infinity and beyond with this text. Now the newsfeed description, I personally don't use this because I think it looks cool without it. Because now, once that's empty, the Learn More button is right underneath my bold description. So for me, that's always converted much better. So you can kind of use this. It's almost like your landing page, right? You can kind of use these things together in order to get them to click on that Learn More. So you'll have to play with this a little bit to get it right, but this is the best way, like I said, to be able to place an ad. Now, if you change this to an image ad, it's just the same. You'll select this image. Then your image will actually show up here. And seriously, only thing you have to really focus on here is making sure that the text that you put in is really good to entice them to give their information. Now, another thing that I suggest you do, whether you're using a image or a video, that you make sure to let the people know what's going to happen when they click on that Learn More button. Why? Well, because not as many people use these Facebook lead ads as the other ads where it takes them off of Facebook to a landing page. So it may actually throw them off. So my suggestion is you say, hey, by the way, when you click this link, it's going to do this, and this is what I want you to do, and this is what you're going to get. So if you remember when you opted in for this, I said, look, give me your name, give me your email, give me your phone number. I said it like 3 times. And what's going to happen is you're going to get some information that's going to help you with X. That's what you want to do. So make sure that you do that so you can get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, out of those opt-ins. Because if you don't, some people are not going to opt in that would have opted in, or those that do opt in may not understand what they opted in for because they just made a mistake. Okay? All right. So that's the text portion of it. Now, I'm going to skip through the pixel. That's, again, it's something that we can discuss in another video. But the last thing I want to show you is the forms. Now, I'm going to click on New Form and just show you how simple this is. So all you have to do is name your form. Now, if you're using Hot Prospector, you want to make sure you create the form or name the form something that has to do with your ad, because we actually track the form names, the form fields, fills by name, so you can actually track which of your ads are doing the best. So so that's a huge advantage. So put in your form fields, and then here under this area. Now, I personally, you can use the welcome screen if you want. I personally turn it off because I'm just more interested in them putting in their name and their email and their phone number right away. But if you select to use this form, this welcome screen, you can actually give them more information about what to expect from you. If you're using a video ad, though, you could have done that with a video. So this is not necessary. I don't always use it. This is something you have to decide about, whether you want to use it or not. Okay? So I've turned it off. Now you can see a preview here on the right of what we're actually doing. So let's go ahead and go to the next screen, which is questions. Now this is the most important because this is the information that you're going to get. Now, I use Hot Prospector, so I separate my first name and my last name because I want to be able to personalize the message with their first name. If you select full name and the information comes into Hot Prospector and you're sending them an email and you're personalizing that email, it'll say their first name, their full name. That's not a good idea. So if you select, to select first name and last name, then you can actually personalize those messages with their first name or their last name, or both. And then here you have the opportunity to select all these different things that you need to know. So if you want to know their phone number, if you want their address, if you want their gender, their relationship status, all this stuff, you can do that. Keep in mind, though, the more information that you ask your customers to fill in, the worse your conversions are going to be. The more information you feel like you're having to give up, the less you're likely to actually give that detail. Okay. Now you can also add custom questions as well. Those are, again, right here. You just click on Add Custom Question. Now, one other cool thing about Hot Prospector is if you want, we can automatically find out their gender, their demographics, and all that stuff automatically when you get a form fill. So you don't have to ask for these things with us. We can actually look them up in our system to see what their demographics are. So, you can get the first name, last name, and phone number, and then we can get that other stuff later. Okay? Now, the next piece is going to be your privacy policy. This is where you're going to grab that from your website. So wherever here you'll name what that says, privacy policy, and it's required by Facebook to have a privacy policy. Here you just grab the link of your privacy policy on your site, put it there. And you can also add custom disclaimers. So custom disclaimers with a custom consent, and then you can add like a consent checkbox. Yes, I agree. And basically, like, this is something you would use if you're doing something that requires additional consent. For example, if you're going to voice broadcast somebody or something like that, you might need to use this to get their permission to, to agree to be receiving robocalls or something like that. Okay, so that's basically it. Now you have filled out your form, or you've created your form. The last thing that you want to do is select your thank you screen, and then here your website link that they'll actually be sent to after they fill out this form. So for example, in this particular case, you were sent directly to a video. Okay, you might want to do that. If somebody's opting in to get specific information, this is where you'll put that information. Now, I'm not going to create this form because once I create it, I can't delete it. And that's one of the things I wish Facebook would actually fix, because after a while, you'll have a lot of Facebook forms that you may not ever use. Okay, but that's it. Once you've selected your form, then you can scroll down to the bottom and click confirm, and you are off to the races. You've created your ad, you've selected your budget, you've done everything, and boom, you're making money. Okay. All right, so I know this video is getting a little bit long, but like I said, I wanted to make sure you have everything you possibly need or you can think of needing in order to get out there and start building this lead generation assistant, making money with it. Now the final piece is the fun piece, and that is, what do we call it? Follow-up, right? The money is in the follow-up. This is where you make all your money. Now, I have to tell you, my motto is follow up. One, follow up fast. Why? Well, because statistics have shown most people do not follow up fast enough on a web lead. Every minute that ticks away from the time somebody has actually filled out their information and they don't hear from you, the colder that lead is going to get. So if it's 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, obviously you're not going to call somebody. You're not going to send them a text message. You're not going to send them a voicemail, right? So at least send them an email. But the next day, you need to send them that voicemail. You need to send them that text message. You need to start calling them. As you will see with the way we follow up fast. And the next thing is we follow up often. Okay? What does that mean? Well, don't just approach somebody once. You need to contact them multiple times. Statistically speaking, it takes at least 5, 6, 7, 8 times on even a web lead for somebody to convert or even just to pick up your phone call. People are busy, and sometimes, they just don't mean to do it, but they ignore you, right? So statistically speaking, it may take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times for you to finally get that person on the phone. And then after you do talk to them, it may take a few follow-ups depending on the sales cycle that you have and what it is that you're selling to get them to buy. So follow up fast, follow up often. The next motto that I have is follow up multi-channel, meaning use the voicemail, and we have a ringless voicemail option here, which I'm going to show you these tools here in just a second, but the ringless voicemail option allows you to drop a message into somebody's voicemail without calling them, without ringing their phone, and it's non-intrusive, and it's great. I love it. So that right there is the voicemail. Next would be SMS or text messages. Look, when you add a text message to your follow-up sequence, that increases your conversion or your open rates, I guess, so to speak, or your connection to your customer by up to 97%. Meaning, if you send an email, the typical open rate on an email is like 15-20%, depending on how good that lead is. I get 30-40% open rates on emails, which is really good. But and you can actually see that I'm not just making that up. Look, 35% open rates on my emails. But not everybody gets that. So if you don't get such a high open rate on an email, well, sending a text message is going to boost that up. Why? Well, because you can say, hey, I sent you an email. Did you get it? And guess what they do? They go and look for the email. Voicemail, also, I use this voicemail to tell somebody I sent them an email. And that I sent them the information that they wanted. So again, we're back to text messages. It helps boost up your email open rates. The next one is emails. Yes, email is key because email allows you to deliver content. And you can't really deliver that through a text message. You can't really effectively deliver that in a voicemail. I mean, you can't leave somebody a 10, 20, 30-minute voicemail and expect them to listen to it. At least on this video, it's long, but it's animated. You've got my beautiful face here and some images and stuff like that on the back end to keep you entertained. But you can't do that with anything else. So email is key. The next channel is Facebook advertising again, and we do that through retargeting. And we can actually do the retargeting right here inside of Hot Prospector. We integrate directly with Facebook, so you can see right here, and you can actually integrate through what's called a custom audience. And a custom audience is somebody that, you remember what we talked about before, that fits a specific criteria. So I can build my audience, I can create an audience, and look at this, I'm targeting people who watched my video 75%, people who watched it 95%, people that are realtors, people that look like people who are interested in a Hot Prospector. There's all different ways that you can do that, but the retargeting, you would build a group of people that maybe opened up your email but didn't respond, or somebody who who didn't buy from you, went through your entire funnel. That would be an example of retargeting. So that's another channel. Another channel which everyone nobody wants to do this. Everybody leaves this off their plate is manual dialing and actually calling somebody. Okay. Why not? Okay. Great thing about this is that you're going to get people to answer the phone. And I'm not a believer that you should just pick up the phone and cold call a bunch of people. I'm saying you call people who are opening your emails. You call people who are responding to you. You call people that are staying engaged with you, but they just haven't interacted with you. Those are the people that you call. Now, the other cool thing about Hot Prospector is not only can you send out those voicemails, not only can you send out those text messages and those emails, and you can track people who open, but you can actually do exactly what I just said. You can call those people. You literally just go into the dialer here, click on the start button, and you can actually pull those leads up and start calling them on the phone. How cool is that? Okay. This is the power that you have at your fingertips here. And the final thing that I'm going to say about follow-up is track everything. You got to track your opens. You got to track your responses. You got to track what is happening in your funnel. And the one thing I love about Hot Prospector, and yes, this is a sales pitch, and you need this, or else I wouldn't be trying to pitch this to you. But you have the ability to put notes into your contacts and be able to see, if somebody responded or not, if somebody opened your email and didn't reply. You can create custom funnels that do all kinds of cool stuff depending on how your customer interacts with your funnel. Okay. And actually in the very short period of time, and actually if you're watching this, it may actually already be available, we're adding behavioral marketing automation to our system, which basically will eliminate the need for any expensive type of sales automation tool to bolt onto our system. So now you can even eliminate those high cost behavioral marketing automation contact management solutions out there. I won't say any names, but they rhyme with MubSpot and Musionmoft or Mailsforce. Anyways, we do integrate with all of those tools, but what I'm saying is that eventually in the next very short period of time, and I'm serious, depending on when you're watching this, it already might be available, but you will have the ability to do everything in one tool. So I hope at this point you've learned enough to know, A, how to go out and find your audience, B, how to create an ad, and C, that you need to follow up fast, often, and multi-channel and track everything so you can increase your sales. That's the bottom line. And the cool thing about this tool is that everything that I mention is something that you can set up very easily. Don't let all the buttons that you see here get you nervous. Okay, it's actually really simple. If I wanted to create an autoresponder, it's as easy as clicking add autoresponder and then loading the voicemail or loading the text messages, writing the text messages that go out, and just saying, how often do I want them to go out? Do I want it to go out instantly? Do I want it to go out the next day? Do I want it to go out 3 days later? That's it. It's not very hard at all. And we have full training to teach you how to do everything. So if you like what you see, and I'm hoping at this point you are just shaking your head with me. Yes, I like what I see, Mark. There's a button below you can click to actually schedule a demonstration to where we can actually show you everything that you see here in action, show you how to set up a campaign. 2 things I want you to know. Number 1, we are going to do everything we possibly can to make sure you're successful with this system. That's why I spent this time showing you how to make money with Facebook, because that's how we make money. Number 2, we are going to give you your own person that is going to actually work with you one-on-one, that can do anything from set you up like right off the bat with everything that you need to get going, or better yet, if you want, they can even be paid to do everything for you. So we have everything available as far as that's concerned. And finally, this is the number 3 thing. If you go to my website right now and you try to buy this system, you'll see the price tag. It's not a cheap system. But if you click the link and you say, hey, I want a demo, you'll be surprised. We'll offer you a steal of a deal for you jumping in on this and talking to one of our agents. So I hope at this point, like I said, I've done a good job at those 3 things, and I've got your mind just buzzing with ideas of how you can actually make money with this. There is a ton of things that you can be doing that you're probably not doing, that having this tool in your arsenal is going to change for you. Oh, and by the way, and I didn't get into all of this, but if you have a team, if you're a big company and you need to generate leads for lots and lots of employees, well, we actually have the ability for you to scale this up. So this system is not your simple sales CRM. This is a full-on marketing automation tool that is actually combined with your sales CRM, that manages your follow-ups, manages your sales cycles, manages your appointments, manages everything all in one place. And by the next very short period of time, like I said, it could already be ready. You'll also be able to manage all your behavioral marketing automation as well. So we're coming up on the hour mark. I want to go ahead and cut this video off at this point, and I want to say, no matter what you decide to do, I really, really, truly hope you are successful in your business and everything that you do. I would love the opportunity to work for you. My company would do everything it possibly can to help you. But either way you decide to go, I hope this video really helped you. And if the other side of this, if we do actually end up working with you, thank you for giving us this opportunity. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.